Hey everyone, welcome back to Easy Coding. Today we are going to discuss about part 1 of DP-900 exam. So we are going to discuss 20 questions here. So before moving on to questions, if you haven't subscribed my channel, please care to subscribe for latest updates. So let's move to question number 1. You have a custom application that uses the Azure SDK to access Cosmos DB. You are receiving an authentication error when you do so, and you realize you haven't passed any type of credential to it. What type of credential does Cosmos DB expect in order to grant you access? So we have anonymous login, client certificate, access key, username and password. So the right answer is access key. So let's move on to the next question, that is question number 2. What happens when you add a new property to a JSON document that doesn't exist in any other document when storing in Cosmos DB? So the options are you can dynamically insert a new property and the insert will succeed. Previous documents will be updated with the new property. And the next one is you cannot dynamically add a new property and the insert will fail. And the next one is you can dynamically insert a new property and the insert will succeed. Previous documents will not be updated. So the right answer is you can dynamically insert a new property and the insert will succeed. Previous documents will not be affected as well. Let's move on to the question number 3. We have to identify what type of analytics, what should I do, such as recommending what movie to watch next. So it's a cognitive, descriptive, predictive or prescriptive. So the right answer is prescriptive, which means what should I do, that is prescriptive. So let's move on to the next one, that is question number 4. What is the main benefit of normalization? So we have to select multiple options from here. That is select queries are faster, reduce common typos and errors in inputs, and forces users to select from a fixed list of choices instead of using a free-form field, reduces data duplication. So the right answer is reduce common typos and errors on inputs and reduce data duplication. Let's move on to the question number 5. That is SQL database supports 2 purchasing models. What are they? That is standard and premium, ACUs and CPUs, pay per hour and pay per month, DTUs and vCore. So the right answer is DTUs and vCore. Let's move on to question number 6. Which of the following are examples of unstructured data? So we have log files, blob storage, an external Oracle DB, SQL server tables and CSV files. So we have 3 right options: log files, blob storage and CSV files. So let's move on to the next question, that is question number 7. How much data can be stored in a single table storage account? So unlimited, 5 PB, 500 TB and 100 TB. So the right answer is 5 PB. Let's move on to question number 8. You need to insert a new JSON document into a Cosmos DB database, but there is a problem. All the previous customers have a valid name and the data you are attempting to insert doesn't have it. What happens when you attempt to add a JSON document that is missing a field that other documents all have? So the options are you must provide all properties and the insert will fail, or Cosmos DB will add the missing property to the document with a default value, or null if no default exists. And no SQL databases support not providing all properties with every record. This insert will succeed. So the right answer is no SQL databases support not providing all properties with every record. The insert will succeed. Let's move on to question number 9. Azure Data Factory supports a trigger that is scheduled at a predetermined time but can pretend it is running at another time. For instance, a job runs every day at noon but only processes the data received until midnight last night. What type of trigger is this called? So scheduled trigger, tumbling window trigger and manual trigger, time series interval. So the right answer is tumbling window trigger. Let's move on to question number 10. Which of the following operating system platforms in Azure Data Studio supported on? Windows, Mac OS and Linux, Windows, Mac OS, Linux, iOS and Android, Windows and Linux. The right answer is Windows, Mac OS and Linux. Let's move on to question number 11. True or false? Azure Data Factory supports existing SSIS packages and can run them in the cloud. So the answer is true. And let's move on to question number 12. In the context of a relational database, what is the schema? So the options are the data stored in the database, the data type assigned to each column such as string, integer, boolean, etc. And the physical files the database is stored in at the storage level, or the structure of the database including table names, column names, data types, indexes and other database structure definitions. So the right answer is the structure of the database including table name, column names, data types, indexes and other database structure definitions. So let's move on to the next question, that is question number 13. A CSV file sitting in a blob storage account is an example of what type of data? So we have two options, batch data and streaming data. So the right answer is batch data. So let's move on to next question, that is question number 14. Which of the database workload is best for the data that is historical and not used in your day-to-day business going back 10 or 15 years? So we have data warehouse, OLAP, OLAP, OLTP. So the right answer is data warehouse. And let's move on to the next question, that is question number 15. Which of the following Azure databases would be considered as infrastructure as a service? Choose one. So we have Cosmos DB, SQL Server in a VM, SQL Manager Instance and Azure SQL Database. So the right answer is SQL Server in a VM. Let's move on to question number 16. Which of the following Azure services use the SQL Server Database Engine? Cosmos DB, Azure SQL Database, Azure SQL Database for MySQL and SQL Manager Instance, SQL Server in a VM. So we have the right answer is SQL Server in a VM, SQL Manager Instance and Azure SQL Database. So let's move on to the next question, that is question number 17. You have a Azure SQL Database server named Server 1 and an elastic database pool on it is called Pool 1. There is a database in the pool named DB1. Your development team wants to add a second database to the same pool called DB2. What is the effect of adding a second database to an existing elastic database pool on cost? So we have you pay for the database and so adding a second database will increase the monthly cost. No effect, you pay for the pool and can run 100 plus databases on it for the same price. So the right answer is no effect. That is, you have to pay for the pool and can run 100 plus databases on it for the same price. So let's move on to the next question, that is question number 18. During which step of ETL is a data column modified to match the expected format of the destination? For instance, changing the date field from Jan 1st 2021 to 1/1/2021. So loading, extraction, transformation. So the right answer is transformation. So data formatting is happening in the transformation step. Question number 19. What format is the ARM template stored in? JSON, XML, CSV, VHT. The right answer is JSON format. Let's move on to the next question, that is question number 20. Which of the following Azure database services has guaranteed 100% compatibility with SQL Server running in your own environment? So we have SQL Server in a VM, SQL Manager Instance, Azure SQL Database Elastic Pool, Azure SQL Database. So the right answer is SQL Server in a VM. So we have covered part 1, that is 20 questions of DP-900 exam. So if you have any queries, please feel free to comment in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching.